Hey everybody, so the topic I'm going to go over is in relation to WordPress debugging and troubleshooting. I should clarify this is not a technical presentation. This is more of for a business owner or someone who is using a WordPress website who might have experienced difficulty in the past. I'm going to try to clarify what it is that actually happens most of the time when a WordPress website goes funky or something goes wrong with it. Now, if you've seen any of my earlier presentations, which I would highly recommend watching, particularly on themes and plugins and some of the other information I had already gone over, because this will help. Those will help as a foundation to better understand this, what I'm about to go over. But we already know that WordPress is an open source application. And we know that because it's open source, that the database and code are available. And again, if you've watched my earlier presentation, we'll fill in a lot of this. So the data and code are all available as a developer or as a business owner. And as a result of this, there are a tremendous amount of developers and programmers worldwide that are creating different applications, as we know, called plugins or themes that extend WordPress and change it, modify it, and do different things with it. So you probably see where I'm getting at with this, but very often a business owner or I speak with different business owners and different clients all the time about various types of projects, specifically in relation to WordPress, what they're running into, what they've experienced. And what I found over the years is a very consistent pattern of basically modifying or using plugins or themes that haven't been scrutinized properly, that haven't been reviewed properly, and haven't been integrated properly. In other words, taking code pieces that have been provided for free or even paid in some circumstances, and then applying them to their WordPress website, and then something goes wrong. So it's very clear to see, injecting code here, injecting something into the database here, from these different things, and they all sound fun and great. And a lot of times there isn't issues, but when any time you're accessing code directly or modifying an existing functionality, you can get a mixed variety of results. Again, WordPress is extremely popular. Is extremely, it's the leading, open source development tool for modern websites, more or less, at this point, and it's going further and further in that direction as taking the lion's share. So as things move and progress, we get more developers, more programmers, more plugins, more themes, more development, more changes, all these different things that could come in and alter this basic WordPress core, which, again, if you've seen my earlier presentation, this will make much more sense. So this basic brain is now having things attached to it, which is causing funny things to happen, which is causing some conflict with something else. All of a sudden, your social share button stops working, or your menu disappears, or something funny happens. So we can get all kinds of ridiculous things happening, and unfortunately, it is sometimes common because the marketplace tends to be pushing towards the cheapest, the fastest, the easiest, the simplest, the free solution, whatever, without really considering we are dealing with a very high level of technology here. We are dealing with a very exact professional science of technology in terms of the programming and database and how it all interacts with each other. So without actually understanding the fundamentals and very basics of all that interaction, we get these, again, free stuff being developed, free themes, plugins, things that people are adding to their websites, and then they're just seeing these awful things happen to their websites. So, and I think that should be pretty plain to understand. I hope that you can understand that. And we could use an analogy, like a car. Let's say that you have a really wonderful car out of the box. It's fantastic, and we'll call that car WordPress. And it's just great as it is. But then you want You want all this custom functionality on it. You want it to be able to go faster. You want a new kind of gas pedal. You want the stereo to be louder. You want new speakers put in. You want a sunroof. You want yada, 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 and you can go on, right, in this analogy. So you got this awesome car, and you want all this stuff, so you just blindly go out and say, oh, this is free, cool, I can slap that on the gas pedal. Oh, this is cool, this is free too, I'll just slap that on the engine. And then you find out later that, oh man, this free thing that you stuck on your engine was actually damaging your engine somehow, right? So the engine just stops working one day. Okay, so what the emphasis on this presentation really is just to better understand why it is that bugs do come up in WordPress. And 99.9% of the time, and I'm telling you from experience working with this every single day for many, many years now, WordPress itself is not the source of most of these problems. In any software, even your top paid premium software on the market today is going to have bugs and problems with it. But for the most part, it's generally pretty stable, right? So this expectation is the same with WordPress. It is extremely stable. It is extremely well written, an extremely powerful application in itself. So when I see a comment or a post and somebody saying, oh, don't use WordPress, that messed up my business and blah, 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 I found digging a little bit deeper, we always find that the individual is looking for some free way out or some free thing or something that they found on the internet somewhere, and he put it on his website and everything went haywire and he blamed it on WordPress. Unfortunately, my friends, science tells us otherwise. That's not the way that it works. So anyway, that is the overall point of this presentation in terms of debugging and code, problems that you might run into with WordPress. This is why it makes it that much more important if you're a business owner, if you are a professional working on your online presence and you are adamant about a specific functionality being a certain way, or you need some specific type of design elements or some unique control of your website, that you really evaluate what you're putting into your website and having a professional review the code, look at your current setup, ensure that there aren't any conflicts. And one of the worst case scenarios, and this is very unfortunate, is that a website functionality could be modified or disabled or changed from one of these plugins or themes, and what can happen at that point is the business owner might not even be aware that something happened. But you have to understand, this is the beauty of open source. This is the flexibility that we have with open source. It's this creativity. It just has to be responsible creativity. And as a business owner and a programmer alike, you have to be responsible with the way that you're developing and actually using and utilizing, and this is a little more technical, but on the programming end, like myself, if I'm working with a WordPress application, using the codex is possible as a resource, relying on valuable and actually scientifically supportive references that tell me that what I'm about to implement is the exact way to do this with WordPress. And remember that WordPress is many, 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 many years of development and different communities of developers building all on a very scalable, standardized system to keep everything in order. But the underlying principle stands that if something is added on or modified that actually is going to change your WordPress application, you just have to be very smart about the way you go about doing that. And again, I went over this in an earlier presentation, but just briefly, the WordPress core, remember that when we're adding plugins or adding this existing functionality, 99.9% of the time, never want to mess with the actual WordPress app core itself, which is the brain, the central nervous system behind the whole WordPress. So even if a plugin that you put in messes something up on your website, in most cases, this can be resolved without damaging your actual website, meaning it can be removed or taken away and not affecting your actual core code. And WordPress was developed this way for a very specific reason, and it was very intelligent the way this was designed. So essentially, we're keeping the nervous system safe, even though it may appear that something funny is happening from WordPress itself. It's actually always this external shell, these external items that are causing these apparent issues. So as a business owner, I hope that might help clarify if you've ever run into problems with WordPress, or you had confusions or weren't sure of what was causing something. And anytime you see a finger pointing at WordPress as the problem, be very cautious and careful to point that finger, because more likely than not, it has nothing to do with the WordPress core. And again, I tell you this from actual practical experience, working with WordPress every day for many years now. I found always some culprit on the external outside shell of the development that created that issue. So anyway, that should be helpful. And again, it's the just in terms of using a WordPress website and understanding open source. It's the beauty, and you really should take a look at my earlier presentation on WordPress being an open source application, because I really dig into why it is so important to use and utilize open source, because of what it does for the future, and the creativity that it allows, and the flexibility that it allows for the future of not only technology, but creative, unlimited creativeness from business owners and coders alike, and designers. So it really is the idea, and this is an opinion, and more probably just a personal opinion, but I believe open source is the only reason, and actually I take that back a little bit. We'll go to a fact here. Open source really is largely the reason why we have a lot of the technologies we have today were founded on the very ideas of open source creations of the past. So keeping that in mind, we are futuring technology, we're improving technology, we're bettering technology all the time, and making a better overall presentation in the future for online technology by utilizing WordPress, utilizing open source. So anyway, I hope you can bear with my technicalities here, but I just wanted to give this information out today, because I believe we're able to ride this fun wave of WordPress and open source, and it's a great ride. So anyway, I will be with you soon. I have a bunch more material to go over. I'm probably going to be done for today. I had a whole bunch of presentations I wrapped up today, but I've got a lot of other stuff to go over with you. So look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks for watching.